Once labeled the poor man's fish, tilapia has made a spectacular transformation to become the world's most consumed white-fleshed fish. Found everywhere from remote rural villages to supermarket shelves in the wealthiest nations. But how are more than 7 million tons of tilapia farmed and processed each year? The journey begins at massive, industrial-scale farms, where tilapia are raised in tightly controlled environments until they reach market-ready size. When harvest time arrives, they are netted out and swiftly transported to modern processing plants. Here, through the meticulous work of skilled hands combined with cutting-edge technology, the fish are transformed into smooth, white, and appetizing fillets, ready to make their way to dinner tables worldwide. Today, join Agriculture Insight as we uncover the secrets behind the tilapia industry and explore how it rose from being the poor man's fish to becoming a global culinary star. All will be revealed in this video. Did you know that tilapia is the master breeder of the freshwater aquaculture world? With year-round spawning, each brood producing hundreds to thousands of eggs and a mouth-brooding habit that boosts survival rates, a single female can produce over 2,000 fry annually under ideal conditions. Add to that its remarkable hardiness, able to tolerate low oxygen water, slight salinity, wide pH fluctuations, and even survive for hours out of water if kept moist. And you have a species built for resilience. These advantages have propelled a massive global industry, producing over 7 million tons each year. Leading the way is China, accounting for a quarter of the world's total production and ranking first in both farming scale and export capacity. On the other end of the chain, the United States is the largest importer, followed by European countries such as Spain, the Netherlands, Germany, and Belgium. Each year, the tilapia industry generates close to USD $10 billion, making it one of the most solid pillars of aquaculture. This proves that, despite once being labeled the poor man's fish, tilapia has won over the most demanding markets thanks to its white flesh, high protein content, mild sweetness, and minimal bones. Compared to salmon or cod, which can cost 3 to 5 times more, tilapia stands out as a tasty, nutritious, affordable choice for millions of households, breaking the stigma of cheap fish and securing its position on the global culinary map. And to understand how this fish has managed to make such waves in the global market, we must begin at its most humble starting point, the hatcheries, where the tilapia's life cycle is nurtured and prepared before embarking on its journey to conquer the world. The very first step in tilapia farming may seem simple, yet it determines both the yield and the quality of an entire production cycle. That is the stage of broodstock selection. This is the initial gateway, where each parent fish is carefully chosen as if being prepared for a mission to pass on life. Qualified broodstock must have a well-proportioned body, intact fins, bright coloration, be free of disease, and most importantly, display active swimming. A clear sign of a strong immune system and stable reproductive ability. When water, temperature, and light conditions are properly adjusted, the female begins to lay eggs, which the male quickly fertilizes externally. What is remarkable is the species' unique behavior afterward. The female gathers all the eggs into her mouth, shielding them within her oral cavity, as if cradling each embryo with her very breath. In that warm, dark shelter, a hidden world quietly takes shape, preparing for the very first chapter of the growth journey. At the ideal temperature of 28 to 30 degrees Celsius, the eggs held inside the mother tilapia's mouth will develop and hatch after about 3 to 5 days. However, before that stage, farmers usually collect the eggs and transfer them to artificial incubation tanks to better control survival rates. The female is gently held by hand, her mouth carefully opened, and a small amount of clean water is poured into her oral cavity. This light pressure causes the eggs to flow out naturally without the need for pulling or squeezing. Every step must be carried out with extreme care, quick enough to minimize stress on the fish, yet gentle enough to keep every egg intact. After collection, the eggs are filtered to remove infertile or damaged ones, along with any small impurities. Only bright-colored, elastic, and uniform eggs are selected for incubation, the stage where their true development begins. The incubation tanks, filled with warm water and a gentle circulating flow like a steady breath, serve as aquatic cradles that provide constant oxygen and prevent the eggs from clumping. After a few days, the eggs begin to change color, becoming more translucent and shimmering, quivering lightly as if preparing to burst open. When they finally hatch, the fry measure only about 4 to 5 millimeters in length, with nearly transparent bodies like living threads. A bright yellow-orange yolk sac stands out in their abdomen, providing nutrition for the first days of life. Although free from their shells, the fry cannot swim immediately. They remain still, absorbing the remaining nutrients from the yolk. Only after several more days, once the yolk sac has disappeared and their fins have fully developed, can they begin to swim freely and start their true independent lives. As soon as the fry begin to swim freely and actively search for food, farmers carry out grading, an important step to separate healthy, evenly developing individuals while removing deformed or slow-growing ones. At this stage, groups of fish are transferred into intermediate nursery tanks, not as large as grow-out ponds, but spacious enough to provide a stable, clean, and easily controlled environment. These nursery tanks function like a kindergarten classroom where each student tilapia is closely monitored. The water is refreshed regularly, while pH, temperature, and oxygen levels are constantly adjusted to match the fry's rapidly increasing metabolism. Farmers provide feed in the form of live microorganisms or ultrafine powdered pellets, divided into several meals a day, so the fry can digest easily and grow uniformly. During this stage, the fry measure about 1 to 2 centimeters in length, with slender bodies and a gradual shift in color from transparent to shimmering silver. Day by day, their fins become more defined, reflecting sunlight like tiny metallic specks moving through the water. Once they reach stable size, swim actively, and feed efficiently, the young tilapia are ready to enter the larger world, outdoor grow-out ponds for commercial farming. Once the fingerlings are strong enough, they are transferred to the main grow-out ponds, vast open spaces that feel like an entirely new world, with the sky stretching above and natural water flowing around the horizon. These ponds are typically 1.5 to 2 meters deep, equipped with active inlet and drainage systems, aeration devices, and regular bottom sludge treatment to ensure the fish do not grow up in stagnant conditions. At this stage, tilapia begin to grow at an impressive pace. Each day, their bodies lengthen by a few millimeters, their scales thicken, and their muscles become more robust. To support this rapid development, farmers feed them floating pellets, specially formulated diets rich in protein, vitamins, and minerals that promote growth, enhance immunity, and aid digestion. Feeding takes place 2 to 3 times daily, usually in the early morning, at midday, or late afternoon. The times when fish feed most actively and water conditions are optimal. Feeding time is always the most dynamic moment of the day. At the sound of pellets hitting the water's surface, the entire school surges upward like a living silver wave. Mouths open wide, fins churn the surface, creating rippling circles and bubbling sounds. A wordless symphony of life. Under the sunlight, hundreds of shimmering silver bodies leap and swirl, as if competing for every morsel of nutrition to fuel their growth toward the harvest season. After months of dedicated care, when the tilapia have reached their ideal size, nearly a hand's length, weighing between 700 and 900 grams, with strong fins, glossy skin, and firm flesh, farmers know that harvest season has arrived. There may be no drums or banners, but for every farmer, this moment feels like a quiet celebration, a reward for months of hard work, finally yielding abundance. Harvesting is carried out using seine nets or specialized pumping systems. The once calm surface of the pond suddenly stirs with rippling waves as hundreds of shimmering bodies rise and thrash as if in a farewell dance. The harvest team skillfully draws the nets tighter, guiding the fish into the collection area. From there, the tilapia are transferred into tanker trucks equipped with aeration systems, first-class transport designed for aquaculture, where cool, oxygen-rich water keeps the fish alive and fresh until they reach the processing plant. The entire process must be done quickly and carefully, minimizing stress or injury to preserve the quality of the flesh. This is not just a matter of technique, but also of respect for the harvest itself. Even for farmers who have done this countless times, there is always a quiet lump in the throat. At the reception area, the water discharge system is activated. A powerful current, engineered to be strong enough to move the fish, yet gentle enough to prevent injury, guides them from the tanker trucks directly into the plant's intake holding tanks. As soon as they enter the production line from the holding tanks, the tilapia pass through the automatic grading system. Optical sensors and electronic scales instantly record the size, weight, and shape of each individual. The system then sorts the fish into categories. Those meeting commercial standards are directed to the main processing area, while smaller, deformed, or substandard ones are separated for alternative uses such as animal feed or fish meal. After passing the grading stage, the tilapia are moved to the preliminary processing area, where every action is carried out with second-by-second precision. The fish are first rinsed under a steady stream of chilled, low-pressure water, which washes away mud, slime, and any lingering odors. At the same time, workers carefully remove the internal organs with swift, precise cuts performed according to strict technique. In the filleting area, skilled workers with sharp knives work side by side with modern mechanical arms moving in constant rhythm. The combination of human precision and advanced technology ensures that each fillet is not only uniform in shape, but also has the perfect thickness, free of bones, and visually appealing, ready to become the ingredient for refined dishes around the world. Once separated from the sturdy backbone, the flesh is revealed in its entirety, like a smooth ribbon of moist silk, shimmering with a pale pink-white hue under the factory lights. Each layer of flesh is even and supple, tender yet firm, with just the right elasticity so that a light touch of the finger still conveys its freshness. The fine muscle fibers run neatly along the length of the fillet, resembling streams of water flowing beneath a taut surface. The fillets are then transferred to the deboning area, where workers operate under translucent inspection lamps that reveal even the tiniest remaining pin bones. Using specialized tweezers, they quickly and precisely remove every small bone embedded in the flesh. Finally, each fillet is manually checked once more to ensure it is completely boneless. After fillet, the fish are transferred to an automated cutting system. Here, high-pressure water jets are programmed to portion the fillets with absolute precision. Depending on consumer demand, the fish may be cut into square pieces for frying, long strips for grilling, or thin slices for salads. At the end of the line comes the packaging stage. Automated machines lay out plastic film, place each portion in its tray, vacuum seal or flash freeze it, then heat seal and label the package with full traceability. Production date, farm origin, batch number, and safety standards. The entire process takes place in a sterile environment with strict temperature control. Finished trays are stacked neatly in cold storage, awaiting shipment. At this point, tilapia has completed its journey from pond to plate, transformed from a humble farmed fish into a global commodity and a symbol of modern agriculture's progress. If China is known as the catfish processing capital of the world, holding up to 60% of global output with its dense network of ponds and factories across the southern provinces, then the United States is the ultimate battleground outside Asia, one of the most demanding markets, where every single cut of fish must pass a gauntlet of strict standards for hygiene, texture, and food safety before earning a place on the dining table. For decades, catfish has been hailed as the king of affordable seafood, prized for its rich sweetness and exceptionally reasonable price. While 200 kilograms of catfish may only fetch the price of 1 kilogram of bluefin tuna, nutritionally, it stands tall, with high protein and low fat, proudly sharing the stage with some of the world's most prized seafood delicacies. Catfish is instantly recognizable by its long, whisker-like barbels, ultra-sensitive feelers that help it locate food and navigate through murky, dark waters. These living sensors allow catfish to detect prey and read their surroundings with precision, making them cunning and agile hunters beneath the surface. To maintain and improve the quality of catfish breeds, the fertilization process is carried out methodically and strictly, starting with the careful selection of elite broodstock. Once meticulously chosen, these superior broodstock enter a closed and highly controlled breeding cycle. The female catfish are injected with ovulation-inducing hormones, commonly HCG or a dalmatilium mixture, then left for 6 to 12 hours until the eggs reach peak maturity. At the right moment, the eggs are gently collected into clean trays, while milk from the males is obtained either by abdominal stripping or directly from the testes. Every step at this stage must be performed with absolute precision, speed, and sterility, as even a minor mistake could jeopardize the entire batch of fry. Unlike salmon or sturgeon, famed for their prized roe, catfish eggs have a rich, fatty taste and a pronounced fishy aroma. And if the mother fish lives in polluted waters or is diseased, the eggs may contain pathogens or heavy metals, making them unsafe to eat when their origin is unknown. The eggs and milk are then gently mixed in an activating solution and evenly divided into specialized trays placed in a strictly monitored environment for temperature, humidity, and hygiene. Immediately after fertilization, the eggs are not incubated right away. Instead, they are kept in large trays to stabilize. Initially, the eggs appear pale yellow and slightly translucent, indicating that the embryos have just begun forming. Next comes the cold preservation phase, where the water temperature is kept consistently cool to prevent thermal shock and fungal growth. During this period, the eggs gradually turn a light pink, a sign of healthy embryonic development. When the eggs reach optimal biological maturity, technicians carefully remove, rinse, and transfer them to specialized incubation systems. Each batch of eggs is the result of a process controlled down to the exact degree Celsius and every drop of water, ensuring a solid foundation for the success of the future catfish generation. In just 24 to 36 hours of incubation, catfish eggs begin to hatch, revealing tiny, translucent beings, drifting like dewdrops in the water, the larvae gently swimming through the clear depths. Catfish hatch much faster than many other fish, thanks to their thin eggshells and rapid embryo development, adapted to the warm waters of tropical environments. This stage is extremely fragile. The larvae have no mouths and rely entirely on their yolk sacs for survival. They are kept in clean, aerated tanks with a stable temperature of 28 to 30 degrees Celsius and minimal water flow to protect the delicate young from injury. Each tank functions like a giant biological incubator, nurturing thousands of tiny lives growing by the minute, beginning their journey toward becoming healthy, valuable catfish. As the yolk sac is depleted, the fry begin feeding on soft, easily digestible foods such as Artemia larvae or finely mashed boiled egg yolk. After a few days, high-protein powdered feed is introduced, evenly sprinkled over the water in precise amounts. Feeding at the right time and in the right way not only promotes rapid, even growth, but also minimizes losses during these challenging early days of life. When the fish are strong enough, farmers take a crucial step, moving the young catfish into a larger grow-out environment. Tubs holding thousands of fry are gently poured into a transfer trough, where continuously flowing water helps them gradually adapt to the new conditions. From here, the fish are guided directly into expansive grow-out ponds. Not just a change of space, but a milestone in their development, where growth rate and survival will determine the success of the entire crop. A grow-out pond is not simply a container of water, but a carefully designed ecosystem optimized for the growth of catfish. With ample surface area, the right depth, and a continuous water exchange system, these ponds closely mimic natural habitats, allowing the fish to swim freely, digest efficiently, and achieve exceptional growth. Moving the fish into these ponds not only frees up space, but also marks the shift from intensive care to growth-focused rearing. The stage where the fish begin their rapid weight gain toward market size, readying for a successful harvest day. Under human care, catfish, once associated with the wild and muddy waters, are now raised methodically like true industrial candidates. About 5 to 6 months after the fry stage, they enter maturity. At this point, each fish weighs between 0.8 and 1.2 kilograms with a firm body, thick dark skin, and a healthy sheen, all signs that they have reached market standard. With an impressive growth rate, averaging 1.5% of body weight per day under proper farming techniques, catfish are considered among the most efficient freshwater fish in feed conversion, requiring only about 1.2 to 1.5 kilograms of feed to produce 1 kilogram of meat. But to achieve rapid growth, farmers must understand a key instinct. Catfish are voracious feeders. The moment they detect the sound of food hitting the water, the entire school rushes to the surface in a silent yet intense feeding frenzy. This is why modern farms no longer feed by hand. Instead, they use automated feed distribution systems mounted on specialized vehicles that run along the pond banks, saving labor while ensuring even and precise feed delivery for each growth stage. Each feeding session is like a military drill, carried out swiftly and with minute precision. As a result, the fish not only grow quickly and uniformly, but also experience less competition and injury, a crucial factor in maintaining high market value before the harvest stage. After about 5 to 6 months of farming, when the catfish reach an average weight of 1 to 1.2 kilograms, farmers begin the harvest, a stage that requires both strength and precision to ensure meat quality and minimize losses. The process starts by deploying a durable nylon seine net with a mesh size of 3 to 4 centimeters, gradually tightening it into a smaller circle to gather the fish into a holding area. On the surface, motorboats and divers work in sync, creating gentle water currents that guide the school into the net pocket, the final concentration point. Water churns and foams as tons of catfish thrash powerfully, creating a scene that is both noisy and urgent. Once the fish are concentrated, an industrial crane lowers a massive net basket, scooping up each heavy load of several hundred kilograms. Water drains quickly through the mesh to reduce lifting weight and prevent suffocation. The catfish at this stage are firm-bodied, with thick silver-gray skin and white bellies, clear indicators of premium-grade fish ready for sale to processing plants. Immediately, the fish are transferred into specialized tank trucks equipped with aeration and water circulation systems, maintaining a density of 150 to 200 kilograms per meter cubed. This is crucial as catfish are highly sensitive to environmental changes. Lack of oxygen or sudden temperature spikes can cause stress, lowering meat quality. At HACCP certified farms, the entire operation, from setting the net to the tank truck leaving the pond, is completed within just 1 to 2 hours. The goal is to minimize the time the fish are crowded, preserving firm flesh texture and high market value before they move on to processing. As soon as the catfish arrive at the processing plant, they are immediately transferred into chilled saltwater tanks, a dual-purpose treatment that maximizes freshness while removing the characteristic slime from their skin. Next, the fish are passed through a high-pressure washing system where strong jets of cold water from multiple angles thoroughly clean them before they reach the sorting table. Only fish that meet quality standards are selected to continue along the processing line, while substandard fish are separated and handled through a dedicated procedure. In the pre-processing area, quality-approved catfish are handled without delay. First, workers remove the heads and internal organs either manually or with semi-automated equipment. Next, the fish are fed into a modern filleting machine, where razor-sharp blades neatly separate each slice of pale pink flesh, uniform and clean. Every step of the process is optimized to ensure speed, hygiene, and consistent quality, preparing the fish for the next stages of production. Although catfish do not have many fine bones, processing plants still carry out meticulous deboning after filleting to ensure absolute quality. In many traditional facilities, this step is done manually under bright lighting. Each fillet is placed on a cold stainless steel table, and workers use specialized steel tweezers to pluck out even the tiniest pin bones. Just one missed bone could lead to an entire batch being rejected in highly demanding markets such as Europe or Japan. Not every catfish is selected for premium filleting. Those that do not meet appearance standards are handled separately by being salted with refined salt and then quickly frozen to optimally preserve freshness and meat quality. The fish are then stored in strictly controlled cold storage, ensuring that their nutritional value and flavor remain intact before being processed or distributed, making full use of every part of the product in an efficient production process. For fillets that meet quality standards, the next step is entering the automated packaging line. Here, workers perform a final inspection before placing them into pre-formed trays. Each portion is precisely adjusted to the standard weight, ensuring uniformity and visual appeal. Finally, the products are labeled, printed with traceability codes, and neatly packed into chilled boxes, ready for shipment to supermarkets and demanding export markets. Each fillet, though simple in appearance, represents the result of an entire chain of sophisticated technology behind the scenes. As the pads settle into the earth and begin to awaken life within, growers resist the urge to water immediately. For the first 2 weeks, the soil is left dry, encouraging the roots to stretch deeper in search of moisture hidden in lower layers. A natural response that helps the plant establish a stronger foothold in harsh environments. Only when new shoots begin to emerge, those first subtle signs of life, does irrigation begin. Water is applied sparingly, just enough to moisten the soil without making the plant dependent on external sources. With cactus, it's not about how much water is given, but when it arrives. A perfectly timed nudge that tells the young plant it is ready to thrive in a dry and demanding world. When the dry season lingers long enough and the sun has scorched the edges of each cactus pad to a golden hue, the prickly pears begin to ripen, changing from green to amber, then to deep red, swollen as if they've gathered the desert sunlight beneath their delicate skins. This marks the start of the first harvest, a task that must be done gently yet cautiously, as these fruits are both fragile and covered in nearly invisible hair-like spines. Harvesting usually takes place in the early morning, when the sun is already casting its light across the desert. Farmers dress in long sleeves, gloves, and wide-brimmed hats to shield themselves, carefully stepping between rows of spiny plants. Using steel tongs or curved knives, they skillfully twist each fruit, detaching it from the pad with a light motion, taking care not to tear the thin skin or release the ultra-fine spines that can lodge deep in the skin and cause hours of irritation. Each fruit, once picked, is gently dropped into bamboo baskets or plastic tubs kept nearby, making it easy to move through the rows while minimizing handling and contact. Once the last prickly pears have been gathered, farmers return to a familiar rhythm, harvesting the nopal pads, the tender green stems often referred to as the lungs of the cactus. What seems like a simple task actually demands great precision, as even a slight miscut can damage the mother plant and disrupt its entire growth cycle. The selected pads must not be too old or woody. Their surface should still be smooth, evenly thick, and tinged with that signature jade green. With a razor-sharp knife, the worker makes a swift yet delicate cut close to the base, carefully avoiding the bud eyes, tiny growth points where even a small scratch can prevent new shoots from sprouting. Every cut must be clean, exact, as if the cutter understands the biological rhythm pulsing beneath those layers of spines. Roughly every 7 to 10 days, new pads emerge, and the cycle repeats, like a steady breath across the desert landscape. At larger farms, semi-automated machines are now used for harvesting, reaching speeds of 500 to 700 kilograms per hour, resembling combine harvesters in arid terrain. Yet, not every field is flat, and not every cactus grows in neat rows. In rugged hillsides where the earth cracks like dried skin and plants grow wild, each cut is still entrusted to human hands, where technique, intuition, and years of experience preserve something no machine can replicate: the art of cutting to keep life alive. Immediately after harvest, both cactus pads and fruits are carefully stacked into ventilated plastic crates and quickly transported to the processing facility. The transport must be completed within the same day to prevent sun exposure from dehydrating the produce or causing the sap to ferment, since just a few hours under the heat can significantly alter the quality. For such perishable crops, speed and gentle handling are critical to preserving freshness. At the processing facility, crates are unloaded by hand or with small forklifts and neatly arranged into batches in the staging area. The space is cool, sheltered, and has clean flooring, helping to reduce temperature shock as the produce transitions from intense sun to shade. Each pad is then manually sorted, rinsed with cold water, gently despined, and left to drain for about 30 minutes. Pads that meet quality standards are packed according to their destination. Whole pads for restaurants, sliced portions for supermarkets. Every package is labeled with traceability information and stored in cold rooms at 4 to 8 degrees Celsius, cool enough to preserve the vibrant green color, yet mild enough to retain the pad's natural flavor. Nopal pads that don't meet commercial standards are set aside for a different purpose, becoming a green source of nutrition for livestock, especially cattle and buffalo during the dry season. After being washed and despined, the pads are fed into specialized shredders, where they are either sliced into 2 to 4 centimeter strips or ground into a soft, wet mash that's easy to digest. At larger farms, chopped straw, sugarcane pulp, or dried grass is often mixed in to balance nutrients and increase roughage. Modern machines can process 1 to 1.5 tons of cactus pads per hour, an impressive output considering that in many semi-arid regions, this is the main source of feed keeping livestock alive through the dry season. With a water content of up to 90% and rich in potassium, calcium, and natural mucilage, Nopal helps animals stay hydrated, improves digestion, and reduces heat stress. In sun-scorched areas where even grass withers, Nopal becomes a living water tank for livestock, quietly feeding and hydrating herds without a single drop of rain. After a short journey from field to facility, the prickly pears rest quietly in crates, as if returning from a harsh expedition. Their skins remain plump and vibrant, yet are coated in dust and lined with fine spines, so delicate that a single touch might release an invisible cloud of needles, sharp as the desert's thoughts. To cleanse this natural armor, the fruits pass through soft brushes, rotating slowly under cool water, where each spine falls away like the last grain of sand slipping from the hand of the wind. Water pressure, rotation speed, the tilt of the conveyor belt, everything is calibrated not just by machines, but by experience. For the skin of the prickly pear is as fragile as the final breath of ripeness on the surface of fruit. On large farms, a single machine can process 400 to 600 kilograms of fruit per hour. Yet speed is never prioritized over precision, because even the smallest scratch can begin the fruit's decline within hours. Once the dust and fine spines have been removed, the prickly pears move on to their final stage, packaging. Workers select the fruit using both sight and experience, not just to pick the most attractive ones, but to ensure perfect ripeness and firmness. Fruits that meet the standard are carefully arranged in ventilated trays or mesh bags, labeled with their origin and packing date as a promise of quality. Finally, they are placed in cold storage at 8 to 10 degrees Celsius to preserve their freshness and flavor all the way to the consumer's hands. In addition to daily fresh consumption, a significant portion of prickly pears is sent to processing plants, where the ripe, succulent fruits continue their transformation into a variety of high-value products. After being peeled, either manually or using semi-automated machines, the fruits are deseeded and fed into cold press extractors. With a capacity of 500 to 800 kilograms of raw fruit per hour, these systems can handle dozens of tons each day while preserving the purity of the juice. The result is a vibrant pink-orange liquid, glowing with a natural radiance, as if infused with the essence of dry soil, scorching winds, and late-season rains. This isn't just juice, it's a nutrient-rich concentrate, packed with vitamin C, flavonoids, and especially betalains, powerful antioxidants with anti-inflammatory properties up to 3 times stronger than those found in beets. Though not every drop of cactus juice ends its journey as a refreshing drink, some are reserved for a quieter transformation into wine. In cold steel tanks, the vibrant pink-orange liquid undergoes natural fermentation over 7 to 10 days, guided by probiotics and steady temperatures. Once the wine has matured, it is filtered and left to rest, gradually turning into a clear ruby red hue. A single sip reveals a delicate sweetness that touches the tip of the tongue, carrying the essence of dry earth, blazing sun, and the art of finding pleasure amid harshness. California is the heart of pistachio production in the U.S., accounting for a significant portion of the national output and standing as one of the top pistachio exporters in the world. The average selling price of pistachios ranges from $3 to $5 per pound, making this industry a substantial contributor to the U.S. economy. Pistachios thrive in climates with cold winters, which allow the trees to rest, and long, warm summers, ideal conditions for their growth. California, especially the Central Valley, offers the perfect soil for pistachio cultivation, thanks to its deep, loamy, well-draining characteristics. It takes about 3 to 5 years for a pistachio tree to start bearing fruit, so growing pistachios requires patience. Pistachio planting typically happens in early spring when the weather warms up, providing favorable conditions for the trees to adapt and grow. Pistachio trees are primarily propagated through budding or grafting to ensure uniformity and health of the plants. The seedlings are carefully cared for in the nursery, ensuring that they are provided with all the nutrients they need to grow. Once the grafted saplings have developed strong roots, they are transplanted to large orchards. The first step in planting pistachios is tilling the soil. The soil must be loose, well-draining, and nutrient-rich. Modern plows are used to efficiently till the soil. Farmers use tractors to place 1-meter stakes in the ground, which help mark planting spots and support young trees. Large orchards maintain a spacing of about 5 to 7 meters between trees. Next, a planting machine makes the process easier. These farmers, often immigrants hired by farm owners, plant trees at a wage of about $5 per hour. The saplings are placed on the machine, and the farmers gently lower them into pre-marked holes about 60 to 70 centimeters deep. They carefully set the trees in the holes, cover them with soil, and ensure they are firmly fixed in the ground. Finally, they secure the trees to the stakes to prevent them from falling over and to encourage upright growth. After completing the planting, farmers use machines to loosen the soil to help the soil become airy and create favorable conditions for the roots to grow better. After planting, regular watering is crucial in caring for pistachio trees. Large orchards typically use drip irrigation or rotating sprinklers. Drip irrigation is effective because it delivers water directly to the root zone, where it's most needed. Trees are watered daily to ensure they do not dry out. Fertilizing pistachio trees is a critical step to ensure their healthy growth and high yields. Fertilizers may be organic or synthetic, containing essential nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. On large farms, modern machinery is often used to distribute fertilizer efficiently. Farmers regularly prune pistachio trees, which can be done manually or with modern machinery, depending on the stage of tree growth. Pistachio trees face threats from diseases like leaf spot and dieback, as well as pests such as aphids. To keep the trees healthy, farmers regularly spray pesticides. Modern sprayers help farmers distribute pesticides evenly and effectively over a large area, ensuring that every part of the tree, from leaves to branches, is covered to prevent and treat infestations timely. After about 5 years, pistachio trees mature and begin to flower. In California, this usually happens from late March to early April. This period is crucial for ensuring effective pollination, as the warm, dry weather helps the wind to disperse pollen, creating ideal conditions for fertilizing the flowers and setting the fruit. After pollination, pistachio fruits develop a hard, pinkish outer shell as they mature. The pistachio harvest season in California runs from September to October each year, when the nuts are ripe and the outer shell begins to crack open, revealing the hard inner shell that encases the nut. Before harvesting, harvesters check the readiness of the pistachios by sampling the nuts. If the outer shell fades in color and detaches easily from the inner shell, it indicates that the nuts are ready for harvest. Previously, harvesting was done manually, which was labor-intensive and costly. Farmers gently pluck bunches of fruit from the tree to avoid damaging the fruit. For fruit that is higher up, they climb all the way up the tree to pick it. Today, the harvesting of pistachios in California is a high-tech process performed with specialized equipment. Pistachios are harvested using shaking machines that include shaking arms, collecting units, conveyors, and storage bins, making the process swift. Farmers operate these machines, adjusting settings like conveyor speed and shaking intensity to suit the specific pistachio variety. The shaking arm, which can encircle the trunk or large branches, is positioned to fit the tree's size and shape, ensuring a firm grip without damaging the tree. Once in place, the shaking system is activated. The machine uses strong vibrations to shake the tree, causing the pistachios to fall onto a sloped collecting surface that leads them to a conveyor belt below. These modern machines help automate everything. However, they cost around $100,000, so they are only suitable for large farms. The nuts then move to the storage bin at the back of the machine. Once the bin is full, it is lowered, and another vehicle transports it to the shipping area. Here, the pistachios are loaded onto large trucks, ready to be taken to the factory for further sorting. Pistachios are loaded onto containers and transported to the factory for processing. After harvest, pistachios are taken to a processing plant where they undergo sorting and cleaning. Freshly harvested pistachios often contain a lot of debris, like leaves and dried twigs. Handling these nuts is a time-consuming process, so they're dumped into a pit that moves them to giant silos for storage. Here, they need to be rid of leaves, twigs, and dirt. The nuts travel on conveyors, where brushes and air blowers remove dust and smaller impurities. They pass through different conveyors that gradually eliminate contaminants. After the initial cleaning, pistachios are thoroughly washed in a specialized system using clean water to eliminate any remaining dust, shells, or stuck debris. They go through water tanks, then under strong water jets that use temperature-controlled water to ensure the quality of the nuts isn't compromised. Once washed, pistachios move to screening machines, which feature multiple layers of screens with various hole sizes. These machines operate on vibration or rotation principles, allowing the nuts to move across the screens. Larger nuts are retained on screens with larger holes, while smaller ones fall through smaller holes. After being screened, the pistachios are put into a dryer to remove the water and keep the moisture of the fruit at an acceptable level. The nuts are then passed through metal detectors and X-ray scanners to ensure no metal contamination. After this, they are size sorted. After size sorting, the pistachios go to a selection machine. High-speed digital cameras inspect each nut, and those with any scratches or imperfections on the shell are discarded. Then, the clean nuts move to a manual sorting process, where they are visually inspected to ensure superior quality. Removing subpar nuts at this stage guarantees that the final product meets the highest standards of quality and safety. After manual sorting and meeting final standards, the pistachios may be packaged for export as raw or transferred to silos for storage. They can also be shelled to extract the pistachio kernels. These silos, as tall as apartment buildings, can hold hundreds of tons of pistachios. Conveyors transport the pistachios to these storage silos, helps pistachios to last longer. If the pistachios need to be packaged, then, from there, the nuts are taken to the packaging room. In our packaging room, we have multiple lines that can package according to different packaging specifications. The machines precisely weigh the nuts to ensure each package contains the correct amount of pistachios. They are then crated and transported to the warehouse. Quality management is crucial in the plant, ensuring product quality. This is where product samples are rigorously analyzed through scientific tests and inspections to ascertain their safety and suitability before being sent to consumers.